Let's talk about that all-important moment we call the interview. But it's a pretty elongated moment. It starts before you show up, right? So talk to us, please, Harriette, about the preparatory work. What should a senior level person in particular be thinking about and doing before that all-important interview?
Well, I often describe it as a three-legged stool in terms of what supports executive or senior leader success. What you know, what you've done, and who you are. So let's look at those. So what you know obviously means things like education or special certifications or licenses. Obviously, it also means experience that you've gained, not just recently, but throughout your career and oftentimes throughout your life that bring you to where you are today with that knowledge base. What you've done, of course, also gets back to experience, the depth or breadth of skill sets that you've acquired or competencies, also what you've accomplished, or perhaps what you haven't accomplished and the lessons you've learned from that have brought you to your place in your career. And then finally, the one that's the make or break in interviews and in success is who you are. How self-aware are you? Do you know yourself? Do you present your authentic self? Do you align with the values of the organization that you're considering or the position that you're considering? And how well can you convey all of those things? And it starts not with the interview, you're right, Tony, but really starting with the resume, your LinkedIn profile, your ExecuNet profile, other professional platforms you may belong to, and also what you say casually as well as formally in the interview.
You use those choice words, your authentic self. I'm getting a chat from our listening audience who want to know, by way of example, what exactly you mean by that. I know you work with dozens and hundreds of people, in fact, who you've helped create or excavate, I'll say, their authentic selves. Give us an example of what that could mean to someone who's listening.
Okay, sure. I was just coaching actually a few weeks back a woman who was being considered for a chief diversity officer position for a healthcare organization made up of about 6 member hospitals, and she would be reporting directly to the CEO. In speaking with her, she had a fascinating personal story that brought her to this work and also where she is today. She was born and raised in Puerto Rico. She then relocated to New York City with her mother, who raised she and her brother. Her mother was an entrepreneur who started her own business, so she watched that being done. Education was something that was always valued in her home, but just by nature of where she grew up in New York, she was also exposed to a lot of different cultures and family traditions and so on amongst her friends. So fast forward to college, she went to college with an interest in both business as well as culture, so international business, earned her degree, and began working first and foremost in banking. Then she became involved in various employee groups and community organizations and started to expand her interest in working with diversity and inclusion. And from there, success took off as she started with a healthcare organization eventually, et cetera. But if we think about it, that seed was planted, both that business seed and her interest in other cultures and in bringing people together from her very early life. It's what she watched her mother do. It's the experience she had growing up in the cross-cultural environment of New York City. So when she presents herself, it's not just about, I've had this role and this role and this role, which is on her resume, but to actually share a little bit of that personal story. And again, where that seed got planted, where those interests or that passion began. very, very early on in life. So that's what's authentic. It's not leaving out those personal details that make you you. It's a way to stand out from other candidates so that people will remember you, because they may not remember your career details, but often they remember your story. And secondarily, it just gives them a sense of, I'm comfortable and I'm aware of who I am. And that's what's meant by authentic.
Gosh, what a powerful example. Thank you for that.